Hey guys, Tyler Mahoney here with Truman Lake Fishing Intel. I'm out here with my good buddy Chris Brooke, the Truman Lake Fisheries Management Biologist for Truman Lake. We're doing something really pretty special today. Every spring they do all kinds of fish studies, but one of the things that they do is they will set nets to catch spoonbill and measure the spoonbill and kind of track the spoonbill generally. So Chris, real quick, can you explain a little bit about why we're doing this? What kind of data are you getting out of this, and how does it help you with your management decisions on the lake?
So right now we have a big paddlefish project going on, and we normally get out a lot of winters, maybe not every winter, but we do gill net paddlefish, look at those populations. But right now we're tagging fish. I think a lot of folks are probably familiar. We had a big study between 2015 and 2019 where we looked at the exploitation. So we looked at tagging fish, and then how many of those fish come back from the anglers to let us have an idea how many fish are getting harvested each year, or at least what percentage of the population is being harvested. And a lot of things have changed since 29 with forward-facing sonar, or live scope as most people would call it, and how people are fishing for paddlefish. So we've got a lot of concerns that has affected the population, or is going to, and that people are harvesting more fish. So we have a 2-year study. We're going to be tagging fish this year and next year. Altogether, we'll tag about 1,000 fish in Truman alone. And then we're also tagging fish in Lake the Ozarks and Table Rock. And we've tagged a little over 500 this year. And then just, anglers, if you catch one of those tags, there's a phone number on it, and you can call that in. There's $75 tags and $25 tags.
Yeah, there's some fish over here. Hard to tell what they are. One of the things that surprised me more than anything about getting out and paddlefish sampling is the number of big catfish we catch. We had one day last week, we caught 4 over 40 pounds. We caught several fish in the 50s and a couple in the 60s. Yeah, so we'll write length, weight, tag number, and then we document, we look and see if they have any scars on them, and then we also look for a coded wire tag. It went through the hatcheries. It got a tiny piece of wire with a little number on it. I don't know, some of the pencil lead is what, 1/2 millimeter? It's probably less than 1/2 millimeter. It's just a tiny, tiny little wire.
And the purpose of documenting the scars is?
It just shows where fish have been snagged and released. Just kind of documented those fish are surviving that. I normally put out at least 6. I think we've done as many as, well, we've ran multiple boats before, but the most we've done is one boat is 11. They're 100 foot long and 30 feet deep, but we hobble them, basically tie them up so that they're only 20 feet deep. Some of them. We've got some that are hobbled and some that aren't, and that just creates a bag. Go ahead. So she tied away, well, so that the black and blue line floats and the white and green line sinks. So that's the red line, so it has a little bit of weight in it.
Got it.
And then there's a big weight on both ends that we'll put on it. So it's 52 feet deep out here, and it'll sink down, so it'll be under the water. So it doesn't look like that yet. You can see that float line is slowly going down.
Yep.
And then when we drop this other end down, it'll drop it down under the water.
Oh, that looks like there's a paddlefish on top of it. I mean, I can't swear. We might have just corralled one up. I think there is one in there. It really, a lot of it depends on how much we move. If I set them all in the same spot, we set them in 10 or 15 minutes a piece. You do 6 of them in an hour and a half. You probably do more than that in an hour and a half, really. What we do a lot of times is we'll take a lunch break, let them fish for a couple hours, and especially on days when we're catching a lot of fish, we may fish the first net for 2 hours, but then by the time we get to the 6th, 7th, 8th net, that net may have fished for 3, 4, 5 hours. Yep. So we're setting these nets out, and basically paddlefish with those big paddles, they kind of swim into them and just get tangled up. and then we'll pull them into the boat and tag them and release them.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing with fish is a general rule. The higher the water temperature, the more stressful, handling fish is. The more stressful it is to catch them, release them, no matter what gear you're using. And right now, what our water temperatures, I saw it earlier, we're in the 40s. Did I say 45?
It was 45, yeah, I saw it.
So we're still low enough, a lot of species, where you really start running into trouble is when you get up 70, 80 degree water temperatures or above that, you start stressing fish out a lot. So at this water temperature, generally don't stress the fish out and don't do a lot of harm to them just by catching them and releasing them.
Of the fish that get tagged, how many of them actually do you get calls on?
So I don't actually handle the calls myself. That goes through one of our other offices, but I believe at the high end, our study from 2015 to 2019 was around 10%, maybe a little under, maybe a little over some years. Just kind of varies a little year to year.
Yeah.
But it would be, what we would, if it hasn't changed, it'll probably be around 10% of those tags come back. But we also know there are concerns. Maybe we are catching more fish. Maybe there's more pressure.
Yeah.
And that's why we're looking at it again to see it.
Well, that's what my next question was going to be, is if this study kind of helps you determine how many spoonbill you'll be stocking in the future or not.
It could potentially go into that.
Okay.
I guess the challenge with stocking fish is, I guess it kind of comes back to what your goals are for the fishery. And if your goal is for trophy fish, if you're wanting to produce 60, 80 pound fish, then stocking more fish isn't necessarily the solution.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't help, I'm not saying it can't help, but you kind of have to look at everything as a whole, and that's one possible tool that we could use, is to put more fish in the system if we feel like that is what needs to happen.
No, that's really cool. I really appreciate the time and letting us tag along with you here today. And so for everyone watching, we really appreciate you guys following along. If you go to trumanlakefishingintel.com, there's lots of cool stuff. Chris and I did a video, I believe it was 2 years ago, of aging crappie and catfish, and it was a really neat process of seeing how they do that, and really pretty, what might surprise you on the results. So really cool work that he's doing here at Truman Lake, and we're just really excited that he allows us to hop in the boat with him and get a chance to see behind the scenes like this. And we're hoping to get into some fish here real soon.
That one's jerking a little bit, I think. I can't see the net. I can see some fish in here. It looks like we've got some fish. So we have a jug at both ends of these nets, and we're going to go grab one end of it, and then we'll just start pulling the net back in the boat. We'll put it in one of these trash cans, and as the fish come on the boat, we're going to process them. We're going to take a length, how long are they, how heavy are they, and then we'll tag them. And we're also looking for coated wire tags and snagging scars. Come out. A lot of days we've got close to 60. A lot of days we normally get a few over 50. We are on the downstream end. We'll see how many we catch too. I didn't put a lot of nets out because it seemed like maybe the fish were moving good, so I didn't want to get overloaded.
Let's see. Where's your snout, bud? Oh, there's two of them.
There's two? Oh, yeah.
She's got a funky rosher, Mom.
Oh, poor thing.
$30.5. Reading it out loud so I can write it down myself.
17.9. You do a pound?
We want them to see if they have a coated wire tag. And the ones we didn't turn on. Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good fish.
Yep, that is.
I'm looking for snagging scars right now, so let's run over there. Slide them forward as far as you can. It's fat. Okay. 40.
One buck.
41.92. Because it won't push all the way up.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
get in this guy.
66.7.
Ooh. That might be your biggest fish of the day. Starting out big. Okay. Just make a slit in there, just big enough for that band. I'll slide that in here. This one's a $25 tag.
How much should I weigh?
There you go. But I need help because we're gonna help push that.
Yep.
There he is. That one has an old tag on it.
Will you double tag it?
No, we'll just run it through. We'll process it the same. We just won't put another tag on it. Okay, you're good.
38.1. 37.8.
Big blue.
I normally don't, but we'll measure them and weigh them for you because, you know.
Well,
because we can.
I just didn't know if you'd collect data just because it's like, well, hell, I might as well collect the data. I got it.
There's, yeah. 30, 35,
20.8.
20.8. You get a few fish go back in the net on you. Paddle fishing, you know, because you tagged them.
How many different species have you caught in your net?
Oh, that's a good question.
So
We've got 3 species of buffalo. Do you know your 3 species of buffalo, Tyler?
No.
Smallmouth buffalo, bigmouth buffalo, and black buffalo. We've caught all 3 of those.
Flathead blue cats.
Flathead blue cat. I don't know if we've caught any channel cats. I don't remember any
I
channel.
haven't seen one.
Obviously paddlefish.
I think before I started, Dave said you got one gar, long nose.
We've got some gar, long nose gar, a couple hybrid striped bass,
No big largemouth though, huh?
no big largemouths.
What's the coolest fish, size-wise or whatever? It doesn't have to be size. Just the coolest fish that, as an angler, you were just excited that you had that fish in the boat, even though you didn't catch it on a rod and reel.
Oh, I would say, well, I would go with the big size. So either we caught a blue that was, what our biggest blue was up in the 60s, 60 was a 64. So catching a blue that size, and then
Get that all the way
like
out.
the big paddlefish. The biggest paddlefish we've tagged this year was 91 pounds.
I think if he gets all this by now. That was the buoy popping up.
There it is. There's 2 of them.
Jump scare.
That one's close.
Yeah, that other one.
You want the tail?
Yep.
How big was that other one? Could you see it?
He's about the same size.
About the same, yeah.
100 pounds.
Yeah. If it wasn't 100, it was 120.
Try to get the... Wait.
Right in there.
36.0.
34.5.
There we go.
The right kind too.
Big one.
You got it or you need hook like that?
I'm trying to flip it.
Right there.
I don't know.
40.5.
Yeah. 50.2. Point one. There we go.
Not a bad cat. You can measure
Alright.
if you want.
Yeah, let's see how much that sucker weighs. I'd say a solid 26.
Lengthwise, he's over 36. Right at 36, he's
Cat.
right around 22 pounds.
22 pounds is it? Wow, that sucker only 22 pounds.
Yeah. This one hobbled or not hobbled, 6 inch.
There we go. Fish on! Fish on!
Here's what we're looking at for snagging scars. So you can see that one got hit right there and there, but then he also got hit.
Let me get out of the light.
This one has a scar there, probably from being snagged, and then here, and it looks like there's, yeah, that you can feel it there.
So those little dark spots.
Yeah, and its skin's a little different. It looks thinner. So yeah, it looks like he's probably been either caught and released, maybe when he was a short fish, or somebody may have hooked him and broke him off too. 36.8.
Or someone may have just
Caught
went
in.
ahead and caught and released it anyway.
That is true.
I like your positive mindset
Well-
that the only options were a legal release when it was little, or that it broke off. I love that.
I was not
positivity.
implying that anybody had ever done anything illegal.
I love the positivity.
Fish do lose weight at times. I think they'll lose weight rate on the spawning run, so that makes a difference too. But then there's also like, why? You guys said my fish weighed this much when it was tagged, and it weighed this much when I caught it. That doesn't make sense. And sometimes you're like, well, it's pretty windy that day.
Yeah.
If you get much wind, you get a lot of bouncing around.
Can you touch on real quick just the idea of tagging them in this way, that it's not, I mean, we just caught one that had tags, so clearly we saw it doesn't kill them or hurt them in the long run, but can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, so it's one of those things we've done it for a long time and had success at it. I don't know if there's any specific studies looking at it, but I think it's generally accepted as a way of tagging paddlefish without causing a lot of stress or certainly without killing fish. What did you throw back? We ended up catching 7 paddlefish. One of those was a short fish, and one of those was a recapture from a few years ago. I can get you more information on that, show you where it came from. And then we tagged 5 fish. So a little slow. One of our slower, probably that was our second slowest day all year, I think, as far as what we caught. But we did catch some bigger fish, but we caught one in the 50s maybe, and then one up in the 60s. So it is nice to get some tags and some bigger fish.
Now, I know you guys do stock fish, but there is a level of natural reproduction that occurs within the state, and on Truman, there's some of that as well.
Yeah, there is some natural reproduction in Truman. Some of the work we're doing now, we're also going to look and we're trying to get a better understanding of how much natural reproduction there is. It's not super easy to study whether a fish came from a hatchery.
Yeah.
Because, 10 years later, you look at it. We do have coded wire tags that help identify some of those. There's some emerging genetics work, I would say, that we could potentially use to identify hatchery fish. But there are a lot of challenges. If you pull a fish out of a net, it's not obvious whether it's a hatchery fish or a stocked,
Yeah.
stocked or natural. So trying to, use some different methods or look at some different things to get an idea. And we know, and that goes back to kind of as you mentioned, we know there's some natural reproduction in Truman, but we don't know how much that is.
In 2025, you will have questionnaires at the water or at the ramps or at the docks, basically taking a survey of people's experiences. And
Yep. So we're doing creel surveys, and we actually already have the schedule set, although I don't know exactly when we'll be where. It's on paper set. And we'll be at some of the ramps, and that again will be Truman, Lake of the Ozarks, and Table Rock.
Okay.
So we're just trying to get people's opinions to understand, what's your purpose for going out in a day? Are you going out? Some people are out because they're getting paid because they're guides.
Yeah.
And some people are out to catch a big fish. You might be out to catch lots of fish. You may be out because it was sunny and you want to get out and enjoy the day and you don't really care about the fishing. So that's one thing we'll look at. And then also kind of what fish are being caught.
Yeah.
Look at, and then some of the methods, what methods are people using?
Yep.
And I'd have to refresh myself on exactly what the questions are.
Sure.
But just trying to understand why everybody's out there and what they're catching and get a better feel for what the public is looking for or wants to manage.
There's an increased popularity. LiveScope has really made it a lot more popular, and I know a lot of people watching this talk about the catch and release stuff all the time, and I know you're not oblivious to that question being out there, so I know you're looking at that, and that'll be very interesting to see what you find as you look at the data, if that's something that'll ever be a possibility. I'm getting distracted. We're doing this Spoonbill study. We got the Corps of Engineers burning Berry Bend over here, and it's just kind of cool to see all the resources that we have working for us out here doing their thing here around Truman Lake. It's really, really neat. All right, guys, thanks a bunch for following along with us today. We hope you had a lot of fun and learned something, getting to see this process of what catching these spoonbill looks like, what all goes into it, the manpower behind it. We got some great people working for us to preserve the great outdoors here in Missouri around Truman Lake. It's such an unbelievable resource. Thank you to the Missouri Department of Conservation for allowing us to get out there and see this behind the scenes. And thank you to you guys for following along. Be sure to look out for more at TrumanLakeFishingIntel.com. And a big thank you to Chris Brooke, the Truman Lake Fisheries Management Biologist.
Yeah, certainly thank you for coming out and seeing this and helping explain this process to the public. It's that's a big part of our work too, is helping people understand what we're doing and how that management kind of works, and kind of seeing it is really important to helping people understand it.
Absolutely. It's been very impactful for me on understanding it, and that's half the battle. Most everyone's not going to go to school and learn all the different things that go into doing these studies, but you can get a high level and gain an appreciation for it, and really feel like your tax dollars here in Missouri, because I think it's 1/8 of every penny goes to the Missouri Department of Conservation, and it's really it's taking care of a lot of really cool stuff. So anyway, thank you again, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.